So, you've been watching a lot of videos about how to grow your YouTube channel, but you're still curious about what really goes on behind the scenes? Well, stay tuned because today we're going to talk to a creator who's taken a channel from 0 to nearly 80,000 subscribers in a short amount of time, and he's going to show you exactly how he did it. What's up, guys? Rob Wilson here. Welcome to Rob Wilson TV, where it's okay to talk about money because money's just a tool and you deserve to be wealthy just as much as they do. But real quick, if you like this type of content, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and make sure you smash that subscribe button so that you never miss another video. Now, just in case you haven't been paying attention, YouTube's become a pretty big deal. As a matter of fact, people in all sorts of topic areas are building gigantic audiences on the platform and making a good living while doing so. Take, for example, the two fastest growing channels on the platform, which are owned by brothers Jake and Logan Paul, who each have more than 10 million subscribers, and they're both averaging about 5 million views per video. Now, since they both upload every day, that means they're each getting about 150 million views a month. If we assume that YouTube is paying them about $1 per every 1,000 views, that means that they're earning $150,000 a month or $1.8 million every year. And we haven't even started talking about merchandise. What's really cool about it, though, is that neither one of them waited for anybody to give them permission to start or grow their channel. They both just grabbed a camera and started creating, and that means that you can do the same thing. So today we're going to talk to YouTube expert Nick Nimmin, who has a rapidly growing channel where he helps other creators find their way on the platform while simultaneously growing his audience and his business at the same time. So if you're ready to follow in the footsteps of these creators, grab a pen and pad, get ready to take some notes, and enjoy this interview with Nick Nimmin. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Movers and Shakers show. I am your host, Rob Wilson, and today I'm blessed to have YouTuber, superstar extraordinaire, Nick Nimmin here with us on the show. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm great as well, man. I really appreciate you so much for agreeing to be here with us today. I came across you on YouTube. I started watching your videos, learning so much, and I really just figured out, look, I've got to reach out to this guy to learn some more about how you are building your business on YouTube, and I think it would be a great advantage for my audience here as well. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
So for the few people in the audience who may not be as familiar with you just yet, can you give the audience a little bit an idea of who you are and what you're doing right now?
Yeah, well, my name is Nick Nimmin. I am a digital/online entrepreneur. I do, web marketing, video marketing, and of course, YouTube. I'm also a graphic designer by trade, and I do a little bit of video editing on the side as well. What's your primary business now, and are you using YouTube to supplement that, or is YouTube sort of your primary business at this point? Graphic design has been my bread and butter for a long time, but YouTube is getting to the point, it's actually been at the point, I just haven't made the cut yet, to where YouTube has overtaken the design business. So I just haven't made the actual cut to where I said, okay, well, I'm just going to stop doing this and only do that. But it's there to where, I have that option to cut off the design if I want to. Yeah.
That's huge because a lot of my audience wants to figure out, they're sick of their 9 to 5. They
Sure.
feel like they're meant to do something bigger, and they've got a lot of skills, but aren't quite sure how to do that. So can you talk about maybe, when you first started thinking about doing YouTube, how you discovered it, and how you figured out, hey, maybe there's something here where I can build a real business? When I first started doing YouTube, it was more to share the things that I had learned from doing design and from doing freelance work over, a series of a decade and a half. And my initial thought was, okay, well, I'm going to start YouTube. I'm going to start building an email list off of YouTube and use it kind of as a springboard for, my digital marketing side of what I was doing. And as I was progressing through it, I started thinking, wow, I can do a lot more than just collect emails here. I can actually turn this into something that is in demand, so to speak, to where people are trying to contact me to do business, to where it's more of a full opportunity instead of just using it as something that would complement what I was doing. I had the realization that, hey, I can actually turn this into what I'm doing, and I can really, turn this into a sustainable business in a really simple way, just by uploading, a video every single week. What was sort of the turning point there that you said, I think I got something?
The initial thing was the rate that I was collecting email addresses. And then I would market to those email addresses, and I would get, I would do, affiliate offers and things like that to the email addresses. And then, those would start being successful. And I started thinking, wow, if I, kind of amplified this whole thing a little bit, then it would blow that list up even more. And then I can start marketing to more people. And then I started watching other YouTubers that share, the business side of YouTube and how they're using it for marketing purposes and things like that. And so I just started applying some of the tactics that they use, as well as far as wrapping a full business model around YouTube.
Up to this point, you had a few different channels. So can you talk to us about some of the channels that you put out there and the content that you were doing on those particular channels and what you learned from that?
Yeah, absolutely. On my training channel, that's where I started. Like I said, with the idea to, hey, I'm going to use this as an asset or a complement to what I'm already doing, sharing that information. And during that process, I had another YouTuber who is pretty big in the space get in contact with me. And he said, hey, I work with a lot of, big brands on YouTube, and I work with a lot of, high level creators on YouTube. And from watching how you present your videos and how you interact with your audience and things like that, I think that you should at least give it a shot to try to do a more broad range channel instead of something so niche specific like I'm doing. And to me, at the time, I was yeah, why not? Right? Why wouldn't I at least give it a shot? I have all the gear. I'm already making videos anyway, so let's give that a shot. So I spent, I stopped on my marketing channel, and I spent 8 months building the education channel. That channel is called All Our Questions.
I'm Nick. Welcome to All Our Questions, where I search the internet for questions that we all want answers to, and I answer them. Today, we're talking about wind, and we're starting right now.
It's doing good. It's still doing good. But the amount of time that it takes to make those videos versus the return that I get on making those videos, I can make 8 videos on my training channel in the amount of time that it takes me to make one video with all the research involved and things like that for the other channel. So eventually I came to a point to where I said, I have to make a decision here. And even though I really enjoy that channel and I love making that content, it's just taking up way too much of my time when I could be focusing everything back on the training channel and really turning, and really focusing back again on, making that into a full business. And as soon as I came back in, I rebranded everything, and, I got a new structure together for my videos, and I just started, putting all of my efforts into it. And in a really, really short amount of time, it's really growing fast.
It would seem from the outside looking in that that's a pretty crowded area. There are a ton of channels. There are a bunch of people out there giving that advice. What made you go after that niche market? And, has it, what's enabled you to grow up to this point?
It became an obsession. Like, basically when I started working on the other channel, the All Our Questions channel, I got really into the whole YouTuber thing, as far as, reaching out to other YouTubers and really engaging with my community. And, on the YouTuber side of things, there's like a whole other realm of things that you can get into, as far as, just interacting with other creative people and sharing your thoughts with other like-minded people. It's a great platform for that. And basically when I fell in love with that aspect of it, and then I started applying it to my other channel, I said, hey, you know what? Since I know the process and I know what it takes to, take a channel from 0 subscribers to 10,000 subscribers or whatever, then I might as well start teaching other people how to do that. And because I'm passionate about it, I can talk about it all day long. This show as an example. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But it's, it's just something that I'm really into. And in addition to being into the side of it where, you're connecting with other people, it's also the fact that the more people that I can help on YouTube to grow a channel, regardless of what it is that they're using it for, it's kind of like, if I help 10 people and then they make videos and those videos reach 100,000 people, and they're they're making better content and reaching more people because of things that they learned from me, then that helps me to create a huge impact on what's going on in the YouTube space, the video marketing world. And depending on the type of content they make, it can help impact the world. You know what I mean? I mean, it can
really
be a positive, it can be a positive influence, on what's going on in the world. Like one suggestion in my video that helps somebody grow their channel, if their channel helps somebody else in some way or a bunch of people in another way, then that's been my contribution to that. It kind of puts me at the center of that.
A lot of people really get hung up in the numbers, in the subscribers, and some of it, quite honestly, can be intimidating. You look on YouTube and you see people with 100,000 subscribers, millions of subscribers, and then you go, well, maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm too late. What's your feeling on that? I have a lot of people ask me a couple of different things. One, is it quote unquote too late to get on YouTube, number one? And then number two, they go, oh, I'd like to do this, but somebody else is already doing that. So I don't know how I could fit in. How would you answer those two questions if somebody asked you that?
Right now, it is definitely not too late, and I don't think it's ever too late. I also think that the metric of success that people use for YouTube is different for every single person. Like for one person, it might be how many people they can reach. For another person, it could be the subscriber count. For another person, it could be the view count. For somebody else, it could be the amount of money that they can pull from the channel. Everybody has their own, just like in the real world, everybody has their own success metric, and YouTube is the same way. We all gauge it differently. There might be somebody that has 3,000 subscribers, but they have YouTube as a full-time income, based on the business model that they wrap around it. So as far as that is concerned, it's definitely not too late. But there is something that you do have to keep in mind. There is a learning curve. Like if you're making a viral video and, you have 6 viral videos, they're all huge, and you get a bunch of subscribers from that, and a bunch of opportunities roll in and things like that. That's awesome, but that's an anomaly. That's not something that happens on a regular basis. Most people, most YouTube accounts, even the big ones, they had to start at 0 subscribers. They had to work their way to 100, work their way to 1,000, work their way to 5,000, and keep that ball rolling all the way through. So if you're interested in getting started on YouTube, it's important that you start now instead of waiting another year, because the things that you're going to learn between now and this time next year are going to help propel you even faster, and is going to help you grow your business or your influence or whatever it is that you're doing. It's going to help you spread that even faster in the following year. So it's important that it's not too late, but it's important that if you are interested in it, just like anything, if you're interested in it, it's important that you get into it now so that you can work your way through the learning curve so that you can find yourself in a nice spot this time next year instead of waiting to start next year when you get around to trying to do it.
Right.
But as far as the other channels are concerned, or the other people that are in a, similar niche, in my opinion, there's other people like you mentioned, there's other people with bigger channels, with bigger influence that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. But the reason that I'm growing so fast is because I'm resonating with a particular group of people, right? So if you want to do, a hair and makeup channel, just as an example, or if you want to do a business channel or whatever it is, the viewers, they connect with you. I mean, of course, you want to add value so that you're bringing in, or so that you're leading, with value. But the people that are watching your videos, they connect with you. They're not necessarily connecting with the fact that you make hair and makeup videos or that you're making business videos. I mean, of course, that's your common ground. But at the end of the day, it's a person thing. It's people to people. And, like I have people on my channel that don't like learning from other people in my niche. And the same exact thing goes on the other channels. There are people that will watch my videos and they'll think I talk too fast, or they don't like how I do my lighting, or there's stuff about me that they don't like, but they do find things that they like in other creators that are in my niche. So I think as far as other people doing the same thing that you're doing, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what you think.
What are some of the biggest things that you learned throughout your early process that you didn't know going in, that you think people should know if they're ready to get started today on YouTube?
if you're trying to grow a channel that you are building from the ground up, quality is extremely important, value is extremely important, and branding is extremely important. Those three things will get you very far, because first, I'm actually going to put value at the front because it's the most important. So let's talk about value. If you lead with value and you are providing videos that are helping people in some way, it doesn't matter if they are entertainment videos to make people laugh or kind of escape from their day, just like TV does. It doesn't matter if you're making, finance videos to help people learn how to manage their finances. It doesn't matter if you're making videos on helping YouTubers how to grow their YouTube channels. It's contributing first is the most important thing, because when you're contributing, then people, they connect with that. It's like, oh, hey, this person helped me, so I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to come in, I'm going to watch more of their videos. I'm going to share this video because, hey, this person shared an inspirational message that resonated with me, and I'm going to share this on my Facebook page, and then all their friends are going to see it. And it kind of spreads out that way. So if you lead with value, you can't lose. Over time, you will win. The second one is quality. And the reason that quality is important is you don't have to have the best camera in the world. I mean, you can use your phone, because phones are amazing these days. So you can use your phone, but it's important that your audio sounds good. But you want to give decent quality videos, because eventually you're going to want to work with other people that are making videos, and they're going, it's the world that we live in. They're going to judge you based on what they see when they go to your channel. How does your stuff look? What's the value you're giving? How are you communicating your message, right? So it's important that your quality is good, and because of that, so that you can work with other people. And more importantly than working with other people is the people that watch your videos. If everything looks good, then they're going to take you more serious, because for whatever reason, in our minds, we think, okay, well, if we go to somebody's video and this person's talking about, let's say finance, right? So you go to this person's video and they're talking about finance, and you go to this person's video and they're talking about finance. This person has videos that look fantastic. They're not, the best that you can get. They're not TV quality, but they look good. They took the time to edit them properly, and they took the time to frame their shots. They took the time to make the audio sound good and all of that, versus this person who just turned on their phone and made videos while they were walking around. This person, because everything is dialed in, they're going to get more, I won't say respect, but they're going to be taken a lot more seriously via first impression than this person over here will, because that quality, I mean, just like when you watch TV, everything on TV looks amazing, and the reason for that is because it's important. If it wasn't important, then no studio in the world would spend $100,000 on a camera, because it wouldn't matter. But it does matter. It is important. So you can do it with your phone, and there's tons of successful channels that are ran off of their phone. But whatever it is that you make your videos with, just make sure that they look good. Make sure that you do take the time to edit them. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can do simple cuts, but just take the time to edit them, and to make sure that you take the time to make your audio sound good and your video look good and have everything framed properly and all of that. And the third thing is branding, right? With branding, this is huge, because the same exact thing applies. When somebody comes to your channel page, you have a split second, really. You have that first initial impression when they come to your channel page to make them say, okay, wow, this is like a professional channel. Because when they come to your channel and everything looks all over the place, you don't have your channel organized, none of your thumbnails match, none of your text matches, the type of content that you make doesn't match, nothing is together, all your branding is loose, then people aren't going to take you as seriously. It's similar to the quality thing, but if you have all of your branding tight, all of your thumbnails match, everything looks good, your channel header, your entire presentation across the board looks good, then you're a step ahead of the game, because people, that's important to people. That's the world that we live in. It's important to people.
It truly is. And one thing I'd probably add that I'm sure you're passionate about too is the lighting. And that's something when I started doing some YouTube videos that my lighting was terrible, and I go back and look at some of my old videos, and it's definitely cringeworthy because of the lighting. So you want to be lit well, and you want to make sure that it sounds good.
Another thing to keep in mind too is as far as lighting is concerned is you don't have to go out and spend a bunch of money on lights or anything like that. If you are trying to start up on a shoestring, you're trying to start up on a budget, use your phone, and you can go outside, just sit in the shade so you're not getting that direct overhead sunlight, but go outside in the daytime and make your videos there so that you have enough ambient light coming in from the sun, and that'll make fantastic quality videos. It's the best light that you can get. You don't have to spend any money for it.
Oh, no doubt about it. And you see a lot of YouTubers who just sit by their window and use that natural daylight that's coming in. And so, yeah, no need to spend a lot of money. And even with the branding, I'm sure if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a graphic designer just yet, go to Fiverr or something like that. Have somebody whip you up a nice logo, a nice channel header. Just, start where you are. You don't have to spend a lot of money.
I have a website, my website, tubertools.com. I'll go ahead and throw in a shameless plug.
Please do.
Right. But, yeah, tubertools.com. We actually create branding packages. We create video branding packages, and we create graphic branding packages to make sure that a channel is tight for that first presentation.
Well, there you go. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm sure I need some of those services as well, so I'll be on that site as soon as the interview is over. One thing I want to touch on is you talked about people coming to your channel for the first time, it being organized and the content matching and so on and so forth. So what would you say to people if they have a few different, maybe unrelated ideas? Do you do that all one channel, or should you create separate channels for, if you have different ideas?
It's important that you focus your channel on something. If you have it under an umbrella of, like, okay, let's say in your case, right? Let's say you have an umbrella of business development or business related content. Sure. And within that umbrella, you have a playlist on finances. You have a playlist on entrepreneurship. You have a playlist on startups. Things like that. It's still under that main umbrella of business advice, right? So you're still focused in that aspect. Now, on the flip side of that, let's say you have your channel about business advice, but your wife or girlfriend says, oh, hey, since your channel's doing okay, I want to throw in some videos of, me taking the kids out or some, hair and makeup tutorials. Then what's going to happen there is you're going to create a disconnect with the people that are watching your videos for your business advice. You know what I mean? So you want to try to keep everything as focused as possible. And not only does that help, create that connection with your viewers, because that's what they're there for initially, but there's other things that happen within the algorithm as well, as far as, YouTube search is concerned and the related videos and all of that. The more focused you are, the easier it is for the algorithm to place you in places to where people that are into your content are going to find you.
Real good point. So then along those lines too, with sort of the advent now of vlogging, how do you think vlogging might fit into people's channels if they're not just a vlogging channel, if they're talking about some sort of, content, but also want to vlog? Again, you do that on a separate channel, or do you integrate that into your main channel?
I think it depends on how you're doing it. Like, okay, let's say, for example, we're going to go back on the finance channel again. Okay. Let's say that you are doing finance videos, and you want to add vlog style content for the sake of creating that personal connection with people. Like, hey, this is me when I'm doing business. This is me outside of the business environment, right? So let's say that you are making the vlog style videos. If you can find a way to wrap those into the business thing, talk about business related things while you're vlogging, talk about finance. Hey, I'm at the store right now, and and if you look here, the reason that they have this stuff at the front of the counter is to try to make you impulse buy. And if you still keep it focused in the same range, then you're okay, because you're still sharing similar information instead of going completely off track and saying, hey, this weekend we are going to my kid's baseball game. You know what I mean? Because the people that are there for the business, a lot of them aren't going to care about that. Right. They're not going to leave, but they're not going to be as into those particular videos. And what's going to happen is when YouTube sends out the emails saying that, that you just uploaded a video, and they say, oh, okay, well, it's his kid's baseball game again, then they're going to be less likely to click on that. Yeah. And what happens is that is basically telling YouTube or their algorithm that even your own viewers aren't into your content. So every time you create a disconnect like that, then you're sending negative signals into their system that the people that are even subscribed to you, the people that are already engaged in your content, are not they're just not engaged in that type of content, and it can negatively affect everything on the channel.
That makes perfect sense. So moving on, you know, can you talk a little bit about the monetization of YouTube? Are you just focusing on the ADSENSE platform, or are there other ways that you're monetizing on the channel?
Yeah, for AdSense, that's the worst way to make money on YouTube. For most people, it's the only way, but it's also the worst way, because the amount of money that they pay you for your ad revenue it's crazy cheap. Like on my channel, for example, I'm getting like 150 something thousand views a month. Okay. And I'm not gonna, by terms of service, I'm not allowed to technically publicly disclose, sure, but I can say that it is depressing how much work would go into it in order to get that amount of money, you know, out of just AdSense. It's depressing.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of views for it to really start to add up.
Yeah, and that can happen. You know, I mean, it can become a sustainable source of income if you're getting views. But if you are a channel, you know, like a finance channel, for example, you know, it'll take you years in order to get to that point to where where you could say, okay, well, this is, you know, this can make my car payment and my house payment, right, and that kind of stuff, right? But it's really important that you wrap a business model of some kind around your YouTube channel. Be it, you know, you're using it simply as a lead generator. You know, like if you're doing, you know, finance, I'm just going to keep talking about that type of channel.
No, thank you. It's a little bit of free advice here, so I appreciate it.
Right. So let's say that you know, you're using it you know, for the finance channel. Let's say that you are using it specifically as a lead generator, specifically as a lead generation tool. Then you can measure that, because when the people contact you, you say, you know, hey, where did you find me? Just like you would in any situation. Right. And they'll say, hey, you know, I found you on your YouTube channel. So, okay, check. So now I just got this new client from my YouTube channel, and they are paying me, you know, my retainer and X amount per, you know, per month or year, you know, whatever. So depending on how you plan to use YouTube and the type of content that you want to put on it, you definitely need to wrap some type of business model around it. It can simply be affiliate links and things like that, but in the business world, using it specifically as a lead generator can really, really pay in a really big way.
That's awesome. So what are some of your big goals, you know, for the coming, you know, year and beyond? Where are you trying to take your channel, and where are you trying to take your business overall at the end of the day?
Right now, I'm reaching out to a lot of other YouTubers. I'm trying to collaborate with not as many YouTubers as I can, but, you know, a lot of YouTubers that are in my niche. Mm-hmm. I'm also trying to put a lot of focus onto my Tuber Tools website, which is part of my business model. I also offer consulting services for YouTube and a bunch of other stuff that goes along with YouTube. But basically, my plan for the near future is just to keep expanding that, because I can't express this enough. If you get into YouTube and you take it seriously and you set up everything correctly, the amount of opportunities inside and outside of what it is that you originally planned for can be insane.
Right. Is there something that came to you that you're okay talking about that you think maybe wouldn't have come your way if it were not for you putting your message out there via YouTube?
Yeah. Well, one thing as an example, you know, I started as an addition to the other stuff that I'm doing, my YouTube consulting, for example. That was just handed to me. Right. Like to this day, I have never tried to sell anyone. I've never, you know, I think this show and one other show, just because it was the topic, are the only times that I have actually mentioned publicly that I'm actually, you know, that I actually do that. Wow, okay. But, you know, that's one of the things is people started getting in touch with me and saying, hey, you know, I'm trying to build my channel. You know, can you help me with it? You know, I'll pay you. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I love doing this, and, you know, I probably would have done it for free anyway, but people are going to pay me for it? Absolutely. But, you know, that, and in addition to that, you know, people are paying me to make videos for them, you know, and things like that. So, I mean, it's crazy.
That is amazing. And I agree with you. Even when I started the podcast, people just sort of started to reach out to me randomly. I got speaking engagements. People were flying me places. So right. It's amazing. You never know who's on the other side of the screen or on the other side of the phone. And so you just have to put it out there and give people an opportunity to, you know, really get into what it is that you're doing. So what are some of the things, and you talk about this every day on your channel, but literally if somebody wanted to start today, they get done with this interview, they get fired up, they're like, I want to go get on YouTube. What are maybe 3 things that you would say, just go do this right now and get started?
Practice.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice, not a game. We talking about
practice, because with anything, delivering your message so that it resonates with other people, is learning how to do that is extremely important. You're on camera now, you've been on TV and things like that. You see how the camera, whatever camera it is, it kind of sucks a certain amount of energy out of you. So you have to amplify yourself a little bit, right? You're still yourself, but you have to add a little bit of energy to yourself in order to communicate in a way that you would normally communicate anyway, because for whatever reason the camera takes away from that. But practicing how to communicate, even if if you're on lunch and you say, you know what, I've got 30 minutes or an hour for lunch, I've already eaten whatever and I'm not doing anything else, I'm gonna sit in my car, or I'm gonna go to a park and I'm just gonna sit at my phone and I'm gonna practice talking to it so that I can start trying to put some videos together. Like taking that action and practicing on your phone, practicing your presentation, practicing or looking into how to edit videos so that you can, keep the momentum going, because there is, a little bit of science behind that as well. That's what I would recommend is practice. And if somebody's fired up and listening to this right now, then the best thing that you can do is open up your phone or grab your camera, whatever it is, and literally sit in front of it and get used to staring into a camera, because that's awkward for a lot of people. It is, right? It is staring into a camera and being used to sitting in a room by yourself and just blabbering away at a camera. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and it's uncomfortable at first. So, practicing so that you can get through that, so that you can get your presentation together, and so that you can figure out, okay, well, now I have my presentation together. Now, I've practiced a little bit. So now I need to figure out, before I even upload my first video, I need to figure out down the road, what is my ultimate goal? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish with my channel? Am I trying to make a full-time income out of it? Am I trying to just reach as many people as possible with this particular message that I have? Am I trying to, position myself and just use it as a tool? Like, it's very important, and I can't stress it enough, that you make that part of it clear before you even upload your first video. Because if you know that going into it, and you know the reason that you are making the videos, it makes every other part of it a million times easier.
Yeah, definitely. I tell folks all the time that you really need to reverse engineer your success. Start at the end where you're trying to get to, and if and where you're at today, you can figure out what to do in between here. So that's a really great point.
Yeah, it's just time. It's just time, really. The difference between right now and whatever it is that you're wanting to do, or however you're wanting to be, or any changes you're wanting to make, or anything like that. Yeah. The only difference is time and effort. It's educating yourself, of course, but it's educating yourself. It's putting in the time and putting the effort. That's the only thing that's separating anybody from whatever it is they want to do or accomplish.
So let's hone in on that, okay? So can you talk a little bit about how much time it takes, maybe from just generating a concept to, creating a script or whatever your method is, shooting the video, editing, posting? How much time does that take? And do you have some sort of routine or methodology that you go by?
Now I can do the whole thing in about, give or take, 4 hours.
Okay.
But that's because of the way that I edit my videos and things like that. But when I first started, it would take me, 12 hours, 14 hours to get it all together, because I didn't have my workflow in place.
So long. Oh my gosh.
It does. It really does. And the best way to start, and so that you don't get bogged down in learning the editing process, is start with just super simple cuts. I didn't do that. I started with, well, hey, I want this cool transition here, and I want, to be popping all over the screen, and, all this stuff. But if you want to get started quickly, then just focus on basic cuts, right? And if you are going to use any type of additional footage or B-roll footage or photos or anything like that, learn how to put those in at the right times. But outside of that, just focus on keeping everything as simple as you possibly can until you get that workflow together. And then once that workflow's together, then try to expand off of that.
Amazing.
To make everything fancy, because we all want our stuff to look cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you got to start somewhere. You don't want to get so overwhelmed that the editing turns you off from it, and then you don't build your channel because you don't want to spend time doing the editing. So I appreciate you sharing that. Is there any trend on YouTube or anything like that the listeners and viewers should be mindful of that maybe they can take advantage of in the next year or two coming down the line?
The only trend that people need to take advantage of on YouTube is the fact that it's like the actual traffic coming into YouTube and the videos that are being created, the videos that are being watched is doubling year after year after year. So the trend is to actually just do something on YouTube, whatever it is. Like just take whatever it is that you're into or whatever it is that you plan to create a business around, if that's what you're doing or whatever, and just start doing it, because YouTube right now is just it's crazy. And they just released their live streaming feature for mobile, which it's awesome, man. And they just lowered the barrier to entry on that down to I think it's like 1,000 or 1,500 subscribers right now. So most people in that range can even do that now, which makes the process of creating videos even easier. So think about that for a second. If you don't know how to edit your videos, you don't know how to do any of that side or any of those things on the tech side, all you have to do is go into your mobile phone. Once you get going, once they release it to everybody, you go into your mobile phone, you click the little icon here, and then it gives you the option to go live. So there's no barrier to entry as far as technology is concerned. Basically, if you have a phone and you install the YouTube app, the barrier to entry has been completely removed by YouTube to where anybody can start making videos. So in that situation, as far as that being a trend, as a worst case scenario to get started, if you can get your message tight and you can get your presentation together, then you can just do live streams. And people are a lot more forgiving on live streams than they are from edited video, because they understand. You know what I mean? They understand it's a live process. So yeah, sometimes audio is going to be bad. Sometimes a plane's going to fly over, or a car horn's going to honk if you're outside or whatever. But people are really understanding about live streams not being perfect. So the barrier to entry has been completely removed.
You know what? Which if you take a second to think about it, and this may be lost just because of the era that we're in, but I tell people all the time, there's literally never been, in my opinion, a better time in the history of this planet to create a business around your knowledge and your expertise, simply because of all the tools that you have available to you. It doesn't make any logical sense that you could take the phone out of your pocket right now, and you're in Thailand right now, right? So you could take the phone out of your pocket right now in Thailand, go live to anyone on the planet with an internet connection, and you can do that for free.
Yeah, and in addition to that, right? Like, yeah, it's crazy. Like the live stream, right, with the mobile, and even going live from your desktop, because you can do that too with 0 subscribers. But there's a little bit of a learning curve on the desktop side of it because of the software involved that you have to do. But at any given time, like I could go live right now, and within 5 minutes, I would have 100 people, to where I would basically, YouTube is the stage. Right, and I would have 100 people in my audience that I can just say whatever I want to them. Yep. You know what I mean? It's crazy at any given time throughout the day.
So, do you think that's something that will grow substantially on YouTube, the live streaming?
Absolutely. You see on Facebook, people are live streaming on Facebook like crazy. Yeah. And the reason for that is because it's so easy that it only makes sense. People are live streaming about things that they shouldn't even be live streaming about, right? Very true. But YouTube, the same exact thing is going to happen on YouTube. As soon as they drop that mobile barrier to entry to 0 or 100, then 0 or 100 subscribers, then it's going to get really out of control, because I would not be surprised if people will literally live stream everything to YouTube.
So that, everybody, pay attention. Live streaming is going to blow up on YouTube. You need to be there. I also want to touch on that quick point. You're in Thailand. So how'd you get there? What made you end up there? And how is it building your empire from there?
It is a little troublesome building things from here because, if I was in the States, I could hop in the car and I could go, collaborate with people. I could go, meeting somebody face to face has a much deeper impact than meeting somebody over the internet. Like if I was sitting there next to you and we could shake hands, it's a totally different experience than, speaking over the internet. So for that alone, it's definitely, kind of a negative. But as far as the lifestyle is concerned, on the other hand, it's fantastic here. I came here originally. My brother actually lived here before I did. And he got in touch with me and he said, hey, take a month off of what you're doing and come hang out over here and, just enjoy yourself. I just want you to experience Thailand. So I said, okay. So I came over, and during that month, I was just blown away by, by the natural beauty, by the lifestyle, because everything's just a little bit slower, over here. And, and I loved it. And so after that month was up, I went back to the States and I started going through the process of selling everything and all of that. And then once all of that was finished, I came over here. Well, let me back up a little bit. Once I got home, I started selling everything and I started working online. I started figuring out, okay, what do I have to do in order to actually generate an income? And then I did a test jump to where I went from Cincinnati, because that's where I was born and raised. I went from Cincinnati to California for 6 months just to make sure that I could sustain myself, before actually leaving the country and ended up in a situation.
Good
but
idea.
I went from Cincinnati to California, and then once I was sustained there, then I shut everything down there, and then came over here, and I've been here for a decade.
Okay guys, there you have it. Special thanks to Nick Nimmin for appearing on the show, and sorry for the abrupt ending there, but while the technology held up great for most of the interview, we did have a few tech difficulties right at the end, but not before Nick was able to drop a ton of useful advice on how you can grow your impact and income on YouTube. So real quick, if you like this interview, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And please don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to see it, because you might just help them change their financial life forever. But guys, that's it for me today. You go get back to work, and I'll see you next time.